So, question for the entire world. What does the tattoo on his chin have to be to get prioritized in removal over the one on the side of his face?
Boom, we're answering questions here tonight on our 6 o'clock live stream. Welcome out, folks. It is goddamn snowmageddon out there. I spent
SNOWMAGEDDEN.
all morning doing the old snow blowing activities. I'll be doing that as soon as I wrap up here tonight. I think we got somewhere about 9 to 10 inches of snow. And I spent the morning helping out the neighbors, trying to get rid of some of the fucking snow that we got. And we're going to talk about a little bit of that, obviously, because it impacted the Villian Arts Tattoo Festival that's happening this weekend in Philadelphia. And, it made yesterday kind of interesting. So we're going to get into that here in a sec. But figured we'd start off with a little bit of humor this evening to lighten the mood for the East Coasters. Actually, three-quarters of America that are getting hammered with a shitty snowstorm. I know some of you people out there in other countries don't give two craps about the snow. And Sarah's probably used to it. So,
Yes, Sarah probably thinks this is like spring.
yeah,
She's
we're
like,
probably like, she's probably laughing at us going, look at these wusses, dude, complaining
how's
about,
April?
yeah, but we're not used to it as much here on the East Coast, Northeast anyway. We used to get a lot of snow, and for the past, I don't know, man, I think it's been since like 22, so it's been a couple years since we got any significant snow. Which is also why Justin and I are in different locations again this weekend. Uh, there was definitely no driving over to the shop today to hang out with Justin. So there you go. Drag just said he's got snow too. Wow, check that out. Okay. I
What was
know.
really
What's
what was
that?
really weird. I'm sorry about the quality of the vocals. What was real weird here last night is my shop is. It's not like it's not an urban area, but it's a pretty busy sort of main thoroughfare outside of Trenton, New Jersey. And after about midnight last night, there was no traffic on the
Yeah.
road,
Yeah.
which
Well,
was
there
a
was a state of
really,
emergency, dude. They were like,
yeah,
if you were on the roads, you were going to get popped.
yeah. And I mean, and there's always, I mean, 24/7 down the street in front of my shop, there's always traffic. It was
Yeah.
odd, man. It was odd.
Well, so yesterday, I went down to the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention, and I got there probably about quarter to 11. Doors opened up at 11 o'clock. Let me show you the line that was already there. So they were actually kind of herding us into the downtown or the down bottom floor of the convention center, which they've never done before, which was fantastic. So we didn't have to stand out in the cold. And by the time I actually got to the rail, this is what the crowd looked like. I mean, this was quarter to 11. The doors opened at 11 o'clock.
Just
So,
a bit, just like a big hand.
yeah, so, I think what they were doing was, I think people actually showed up yesterday in large numbers compared to a regular Saturday, just thinking, hey, man, I'm not going to get to make it there tomorrow. Um, I know Justin and I walked around a good bit yesterday, and different discussions you had with different artists and different booths that were set up. And I don't know about you, Justin, but I heard a bunch of times about, hey man, I don't think I'm going to be here tomorrow. I think we're packing up tonight. I mean, what did you hear?
Same. Yeah. Who was gonna? I mean, they shut 95 down, which is the main highway up and down the East Coast here. I mean, if you were traveling from any of the local states, you weren't, it was either leave last night or stay till tomorrow,
Right.
you know?
So the other thing is that Troy actually went around and he said, hey, we're going to be open, man, no matter what. So, you know, um,
Well,
I didn't see anything on Instagram today about, I did you see anything about, like, anybody posting that they were there today? Like, artists?
No, I didn't.
Yes, I don't to be honest with you, I don't know if they opened or not because I believe the city of Philadelphia was under a state of emergency as well. Um, man, the only thing I could say is if it was open and artists, uh, stuck around and hung out, it probably was a pretty awesome day today because when you have situations like that, it allows you time to go around and like socialize with other artists, maybe go get tattoos from other artists. It turns into like a fun event. Um, it sucks for business, obviously, right? I mean, the whole point of you being there at a convention is to make money. But one thing that Justin and I did notice was there were a little bit, small amount, less booths this year. And it felt like they had it spread out a little bit different. So the aisles were not as narrow, which was cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Justin and I were walking around, I was there for a couple hours by the time you showed up. Um, I don't know how many hours I was there, but you showed up late, and then we met together at RC's booth, and then I walked around the other half of the show that I didn't even go see. So unfortunately, there were some people that I wanted to see there. Nine Toes and the girl Katie that works with him wanted to see them. I didn't get to see them, but I got to see some other folks, which was cool. Um, you know, Justin and I kind of had the same consensus about it's a lot of repetition as you're walking through. It's a lot of the same styles, same people are doing the same kind of work. But for anyone out there that is a tattoo artist, let me give you one little thing that both Justin and I picked up on. For your banner, you need to make sure you're using a font that is clear and shows what you do, because we noticed a lot yesterday. People were walking around and all they were doing was looking at the name and maybe like what kind of work they had. They weren't even looking down and looking at the booths. So that might be a good tip for anybody out there that attends conventions, because there were a lot of people that had like fancy, crazy script, which looks cool. Don't get me wrong, looks awesome. But if you can't read it, it's like pointless. Why even have a banner? Then there were
So
people that had no banner. They were just like Matt with a point. Thank you, Sarah, for the
thanks,
$5
Sarah.
chat.
So there was the one shop where all their first off, all their artists were like these hot Latina fucking women. I don't know if you saw the hot Latina women tattoo shop aisle. I
I
mean, I
did.
literally mean it was all like just hot cholas, man.
Okay.
And their banners were just like glamour shots of each of them. You know, they were like 10 in a row, man. And I thought those banners were interesting.
Okay.
You know, the hot Latina banners. But and I thought people that went out of their way, like some of the people went out of their way to make their booths like interesting.
Right.
Like they put up their art and they put up flash, but they also put up like they they made it interesting. It wasn't just like the here's my photos and here's a couple pieces of candy and some stickers. You
Yeah.
know?
So I think that that's another thing is I think that conventions and their presentations at conventions have also kind of went the route of social media. Like, what are you going to do to make yourself stand out?
See,
Because in a
I
sea
think
of artists, you need to stand out.
I think it's just the opposite. I think
Okay.
it's just the opposite. People were scared to interact. Like the whole when I talk about Professor Ouch from Philadelphia Eddies, man, the whole like, come on in, kid, come on in. be part of the gang. Come get tattooed, like the carnival barker. You know, you would walk down the aisle, and artists wouldn't even. I mean, they wouldn't even look up from their stuff. You know,
Yeah.
because they're. I feel like they're so accustomed to hiding behind the social media shield, right? Behind the Instagram and the TikTok, that a lot of them didn't know how to, seem
No
scared
interaction.
almost. Yeah,
Yeah, well, and that's funny, man, because that was part of the conversation I had with Brad Fink. So I spent a little
who's a
time
character. Yeah,
hanging out with Brad and Michelle Miles, which I'm gonna have to turn my video off and go run out there and grab that real quick because I got that book off of Michelle. But he was saying that like that's one of the things that he tries to instill for the people that work at his shop, that they need to embrace that carnival barker mentality even when they're in the shop. Because he was just saying to me like how when he started back in the day in St. Louis, that was his thing, was like, you know, you had to work the front desk, you had to tattoo, you had to answer the phone, and you had to, like, if you were slow, you were either drawing or like standing out front, you know, hey, how you doing today? You getting a tattoo today? Da da da, that kind of stuff. And I think that that's one of the things that I saw the most from the older generation of tattooers that were there. They were actually going out of their way. Now, look, here's another thing, because I don't want to make this like an old school against new school, because I saw plenty of new school people doing it as well. Going out of their way. Hey, how you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you turned and you made eye contact, they were like, hey man, how's it going? But then there were people like you were saying, like that kind of like had their head in the sand almost. And then there was other people that had these like crazy booths with like I'm not going to say the guy's name, but the guy that was on the corner right by RC with the giant flat screen TV, and he was showing his like reels and all the tattoos he did, and he was like, dude, he was like the epitome of media tattooer.
nice. So I
And
saw I saw one shop. All their tables were in the shape of hearts, and all their ink caps were in the shape of hearts. And the whole booth was like pink, and like I mean, it was like their shtick. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
well,
I could just appreciate, like, they really were going the extra mile on, like, the I don't know, like the sort of like the
yeah.
anime silly girl or whatever thing.
So then there was also the people there that were bigger names that their work stands on itself. I mean, they don't need any shtick. They don't need to be, um, you know, they don't need to have any of that, because people were just like, matter of fact. So the guy that was across from RC that was doing the Polynesian work, that dude was doing some amazing pieces yesterday, and he had a crowd around him all day
So
because it
like
was something unique that stood out.
so it was a really good moment, man. And I don't mean to be corny or whatever, but so before I left, me and my girlfriend were there, and we stood in front, and I watched that guy, and we like acknowledged each other. He was tattooing with his two apprentices, and the two guys. I mean, Buck saw him, but for those that weren't there, so he was doing it like he was doing the tattoo with the tapping, and he had two other guys holding the dude and stretching the skin, which is, from everything that I've seen, is exactly how it was done traditionally. It's like a three-man team, and I really got a sense of, like, I'm seeing something sacred.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, amidst all this, like, you know, all this new school stuff and all this like master bullshit and all this whatever.
right.
Like, here in this little corner, it's timeless and fucking sacred. I don't know how to say it, dude. I know it's cheesy.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Like, so the one guy that worked for him, I said, "Hey, man, he had amazing chest and down his arms." And I said to the guy, I said, "Oh, are you an apprentice for him?" And he said, "No." He said the other guy that's with me I would consider him to be more of an apprentice. I'm just a helper to hold stretch skin.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he actually was like humble enough to be like, "I haven't earned that yet. I'm just still a helper." And I thought that was pretty awesome. And those guys were super nice, man. Like I said, man, they had a crowd around them for pretty much the whole day. Um, the one girl that started at 11 a.m. when I first got there, she got kind of a bigger piece done. But then after that, he had, been doing a smaller piece on somebody. So, but he was busy all day. And, it was just cool to see, man. Like, I was saying that yesterday, when you and I were talking, and I was like, these guys and girls that pay buku bucks to travel, whether it's plane or by car or whatever, then they pay booth fees and, medical certs. And, I mean, by the time you put all that money into it, you know, it just seems like it's hard to strum up work to get, not everybody was busy. When we
No,
walked around, I would say it was a 50-50 mix. I think that it was like 50% of the people were tattooing and the other 50 were kind of just, So,
I would call it less than that, man. To be honest with you,
okay.
I would say 50-50.
Yeah.
I would say, I would say, no, maybe 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I enjoy it. It's our local big convention. I don't enjoy having a hoof around that whole goddamn convention because it's huge. Um, dude, I was wearing my Google Watch. By the time I got home, I had like 11,000 steps, which, normal person, that's not a lot, but for my fat ass that sits around all day, that's a good bit. I was pretty whooped by the time I got home. Um, but I did have a couple other pictures. I didn't take a lot of pictures, man. I spent a lot of time schmoozing and talking. Here's me hanging out with Ronnie Delacqua and Richie Montgomery. Uh, I have Richie. He's on board. Him and I will be getting together to do a interview, and that'll be awesome. He's bought into doing the sit down revisited. So once I get Richie's interview done and I do Mike Perfetto, we're gonna all get together and do a sit down revisited. So that'll be pretty cool. Here's something I took. So they had the tattoo heritage row for the museum. I guess they handpicked some of the people that were in that row, and I took this picture, man, because this was a new one for me. So Bucky and Walters was a tattoo shop in Philly, and this would have been pre Philadelphia Eddie, pre Sailor Eddie Jr. This was a new name for me. I had never heard of these guys before, and that could be my own ignorance, but it
Who?
was, you know, I don't know. Have you ever heard of these guys before?
I can't see the picture that you're showing.
Oh, okay. It's saying tattooing by Bucky and Walters, artistic and reliable for 25 years experience, and they were on 232 North 8th Street in Philadelphia.
No idea.
And here is some of the flash, pretty old school stuff. And then this card that's in the top left, it actually talks about Professor Walters from the USS Tennessee. So that must be where he started to tattoo and then wound up opening up a shop in Philly, which makes sense, right? Because Philadelphia, huge naval port back in the day, I would say up until probably the early 90s, maybe. But it was cool, man, because they had stuff like that on display. They had, a ton of different flash from like Burke Rim. They had, a couple Charlie Wagner machines there, Percy Water machines, and then it listed like, who owned the machines and they were on loan for the museum. But it was pretty cool to see, man. I enjoyed that. When I first got there, they didn't have anything in the display cases. Apparently, they took all that stuff home because obviously it's worth a lot of money. But it was nice to see that they're bringing the history back to tattoo conventions, which is really cool. And I had a pretty decent discussion yesterday with the guy that runs the Heritage Arts Tattoo Convention down in Roanoke. He's actually invited me to come down. I will be doing that convention this year. But he had talked about possibly setting up uh, a history kind of corner with some of the older generation. And I told him, I said, hey man, you need to go talk to Ronnie and Marvin. And I went and spoke to those guys. And late last night, man, he made a post saying, hey, they're going to be there. So they must have said, yeah, sure, we'll come down. So that'll be cool, man. That to me, I would like to see more of that from a convention point of view. I would like to see more history being brought into the conventions. Obviously, yeah, for me, right? This is what we do here. But I think it would be awesome for the younger generation to start to understand some of that stuff and see some of that stuff, which was really cool yesterday because I saw a lot of younger generation tattooers stop by that whole area and they were checking out Flash and they were asking questions. That's awesome, dude. So hopefully, man, that's the thing that turns some of these younger folks into the history thing.
What was really weird, man, is that I'm kind of in my little bubble here of my shop and the people that I surround myself with. But going to the convention yesterday, like, um, it really is like a snapshot into how much it has changed.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I mean, everybody. I mean, nobody's using coil machines. Like,
No,
no one.
I saw
I
a
mean,
couple.
I mean, a couple, right? But for the majority, like, I mean, you got to remember, dude. I mean, remember when tattoo conventions? That's what you heard.
Right, right,
You, that was the omnipresent noise in the machines. I mean, I went down entire aisles of people just using pens now,
right.
and just not like in entire aisles of people doing like photorealistic new school work and the oil paintery sort of work. And I mean, for me, it was very eye opening, like the immensity of the change.
I did
And it,
see I did see more American traditional this year than I think I have in the past couple years, though.
really,
Yeah.
Jesus,
So I, I think for a while there, it kind of like it definitely lessened. For sure it did. But this year, I saw a lot more people doing American traditional than I have in the past couple years. So that's cool too to see. And I think that I can't remember who I was talking to when I was talking about this, but I'm starting to see younger people get those tattoos now, and I don't know if it's like a nostalgic kind of thing to be like, oh man, let me get that. But I'm seeing more younger kids get American traditional and Japanese work, where look, it's nowhere near on the balance of what we're seeing with people getting realism and this new school kind of stuff, right? But I am starting to see a more and more of Japanese and some traditional American traditional stuff. So hopefully, man, it turns into the cool hip thing again. It ebbs and flows, dude. I mean, um, you and I laughed yesterday for like a brief second when they were announcing like biker tattoos for the um, the awards thing or whatever, right? Like I didn't even make it to the stage, but I guess they were judging like biker kind of tattoos. Like I don't know what that
No,
entails.
no, what I was saying then is that like um, that was the one thing that I really didn't see, and I eventually did run into two or three. So for you guys that are watching us, when Troy does his conventions, he kind of groups people together.
Yeah,
So I did run into this whole it was like an aisle of guys that were doing like Motorhead and like biker work and stuff like that, but there were still only two or three. There wasn't a lot of artists like that were into that like style. You know what I mean? There were guys that were like into like sort of a retro '80s heavy metal style, and plenty of American traditional guys. But I didn't see like I only saw a couple dudes that were doing like straight like
yeah.
you know biker
Well,
work.
one thing that I did notice this year, um, that maybe I haven't seen at other conventions, I could be wrong. There seemed to be a lot more corporate sponsorship this year.
Yeah.
Like it was like super prevalent. Whether it was, you know, corporate booths handing out stuff for like
So
beard butters, not beard butters, tattoo butters and stuff like that.
so we all love The Rock, right? We're dudes. We all love The Rock, man. How can you not? Dude's like he's all right, you know.
While
But
you're
yet,
telling this story, I'm going to turn my camera off so I can go grab that book.
right? So the whole I mean like just this whole booth with like this huge like canvas banner of The Rock, and then all of his like tattoo products, and then the lady's like talking to us, and she was like super chill, and she's like, "Oh, it's available at Walmart and Target," and I'm thinking, man, I don't know if you know who you're talking to. I'm not really. I don't know if I'm the guy that's like tattoo products available at Walmart and Target is a great thing, but she was pretty cool. And then a couple of the supply companies, man, have obviously just completely embraced like the corporate sponsorship thing and kind of left behind the tattooer only, tattooer run. You know, did you get that feeling too? Like a couple of the tattoo supply companies that were there, they're not, you know, they're not really tattooer centric anymore.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, when I was saying about, look at me, my hat's all crooked and shit. What I was saying is the when I meant corporate sponsorship, man, I just meant like the big banners that were up and above, and it was like, the different companies, and then like there were people with the banners. Let's go back to the banners for a second, where these people had these banners, these elaborate banners, and it was all centered around their
The
sponsorship.
teams,
Right.
yeah, product team,
Yeah. Yeah. Which, look, hey, man, get yours, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to pay you or whatever. Get it. Get it while you can.
dude.
But,
I'm gonna talk a little shit here. You know, um, so my favorite thing about it was the dudes that were like the Ink Master guys that had been on the show, but had obviously just like taken a big shit on the show or whatever. You know what I mean?
like, they
Had it
made it
like
to
what?
like one round.
Yeah, hadn't made it on, hadn't like gotten through the season, or hadn't gotten to like the semifinals or whatever. So it's like so and so nameless dude, uh, contested on Ink Master season. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So here's the thing, man.
Like
Going
that
back
ain't
to
a
that,
flex, dude. That ain't a flex anymore.
going back to the Heritage Tattoo Show, he said that he got shit last year because he refused to let people in the show with their Ink Master banners. He said, "You're more than welcome to come. and participate and be an artist at my show, but we're not hanging Ink Master banners up. And it pissed a lot of people off. But that's kind of, I guess, where he's going with that, right? Is if your work stands on its own and you're doing your own hustle, you don't rely on that Ink Master thing. And to be fair, dude, I mean, this is a couple years now of me seeing this. There was a couple that were busy yesterday, but I don't see that being a big flex like it used to be. Like
Not at all.
there was plenty of like no,
That's part of what I mean is that there's so many of them now.
yeah, like there was plenty of no name, and I don't mean that in a negative connotation, but that's the only way I could think of calling it right now. That were
Obscure.
busy doing their thing. What's up, Mondo? Thank you for the super chat, brother. Good.
Mondo's from Texas?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's out there in Texas. We got a bunch of people in chat, and a lot of people have made comments and stuff like that. You want to go through these real quick before we keep going?
Sure.
All right, man. We got moderator Nikki. We got Bill O'Connell hanging out with us. Got Drag, Stephen Street from over there in the UK. We got Mondo hanging out with us. Hello. Hello, chat. My name is Mondo. I own and operate a multi-artist tattoo studio with my wife in Beaumont, Texas. Hope everyone is well. We got Sarah hanging out. Oh, gee, Sarah. Yeah. Mondo, hope you're safe out there with all the ice that you guys got in Texas. Drag said he's got snow in Spain, which is nuts. And we got Brad, tattoo artist. We got Luz hanging out with us. Who else? Brad said Troy doesn't miss. Troy doesn't miss when it comes to attendance for villains. That is true. He definitely knows how to strum up business. We got Fat Cracker hanging out there with a different name, Torta Eater.
Torta Eater.
Shake City Blasted. Brad said he's definitely trying to lean towards history with his show that he's running. We are doing the first Burt Grimm Impact Award to honor Burt and local artists who has impacted the craft of tattooing. Wes Grimm will be presenting the award. That's awesome,
Nice.
dude.
Absolutely.
Mondo said it's effing cold and wet in Southeast Texas. Brad, that's awesome, dude. I like hearing stuff like that, man. So I got these slides. I thought it was pretty cool. I wish I had better pictures, but the way the glass was, I couldn't, no matter what angle I went, I couldn't get it to work right. But OG Sarah is hanging out. I wanted to show this real quick. She sent me pictures. She got the two fat guys in a tattoo shop mug, the coffee mug from our Shopify store. And on the backside, it's got the chubby pinup girl. We got you covered with everything ink. So thank you for that purchase, sir. It helps us support our show.
I actually modeled for that picture.
Yeah. We had to put Justin in a pair of Daisy Dukes, and he had to do the dainty pose, and then it was cool because yesterday Justin actually got to meet Dave Clemma. He goes by Tattoos by Mech. He's the guy that actually created the chubby pinup girl for me, and also did the Tattoos in Review logo for the channel. So he was there yesterday. But I talked about it real quick, and I want to jump into it. I did pick up this book yesterday from the convention. It is the book that Michelle Miles put out, Liberty, the Tattooed Lady. It's a freaking awesome book. I wanted to get it when it came out, but I never grabbed it.
Is that the Statue of Liberty book?
Yeah, man, it's got a bunch of really cool historical flash in here. That's all like Statue of Liberty stuff. I thought dude, when I first saw it, and she's even got some pictures of the acetates in here. How cool is that, man? So if you get a chance, man, pick this book up if you're into collecting like cool pictures of flash and stuff like that. There's the book. I'm trying to focus. I can't focus. All right. Um, but yeah, man, I had a really good conversation with Michelle yesterday, her and Brad. I talked to her about getting up there to do a little, walk around the museum and then to do her um, tattoo history tour that she does in New York City of the Bowery, where she will take you to the spots where Charlie Wagner, Samuel O'Reilly, where all their shops were, the Moskowitz brothers, Millie Hall. So I'll be doing that in the spring. She said she only does it really on Fridays, but if I'm coming up, she could, change the date or whatever. I said, no, Friday works, man. I could take a day off for work. Not a
I'll
big
go up
deal.
with you.
Yeah, dude, I think it would be really cool to do. Maybe film some of it and possibly give you an interview with her. So we'll see what happens, man. I also talked to,
I remember her when she was a kid.
yeah,
I didn't like, not like, I mean, I was never like friends with her or whatever, but I remember I would see her at the Roseland convention.
yeah.
You know, I mean, when she started working at Daredevil or own Daredevil or whatever, she was young.
I also had a good conversation yesterday with Annette LaRue to talk to her about possibly doing an
Madame,
interview. So,
Madame Rue.
yeah, man. And while we were talking to her, that Octobooty chick walked up. Dude, what the hell, man? Whatever, man. That's you know,
I loved her gold teeth.
yeah, yeah. Man. Ultimately, I'd like to sit down with her and Jackie Grisham. Jackie's a huge part of this whole thing, and she's been interviewed before, but I'd like to do my own personal brand of, questioning. Um, Hopefully, you guys got to see the JoJo Ackerman video. Um, JoJo does some pretty amazing east meets west style of tattooing. He also still does, American traditional stuff as well, but his work is sick, dude. Um, he does more large scale stuff these days, he said. And the day we were there, he was doing a pretty big piece, and then so was Robert um, Atkinson. They do some freaking amazing work, dude. But he's very well. JoJo's very well versed in Japanese, history of tattooing. He's made trips over to Japan. He was really, really tight with Junie and Bill Salmon. So, you know, uh, yeah, it's impressive, dude.
So I ran into Bill Salmon one time, and I noticed it on his finger here, like on his finger. Oop, I don't know what direction to move in with the camera. He had dots. He had like I think two dots,
Yeah,
like really bold. And I'm always like, whenever I met anybody that I'd read about as a kid, because I first read about Bill and Junie in the Modern Primitives book, I was always a little, I don't want to say starstruck, but I had a lot of respect. I was like, yo, man, what's that on your finger? And he goes, those are my drinking dots. And he goes, if I go out and I got two dots on my finger, it's okay. If I got four dots on my finger, it might be time to go home. And if I got six or more,
yeah.
if I got six or more dots on my finger, I'm in real trouble.
So RC's hanging out in chat, man. Good to see you, RC. Did you go to the convention today, or did you cut out last night? That is one of the questions that me and Justin had today because we didn't see a lot of posts on Instagram. So I'm not sure if a lot of
How
people
did
cut out of the convention early or not, but I'm curious to see if you did.
how
RC
did
was
your
there
tattoo
selling a lot of historical, flash pictures. Um, Man, I really would have liked to have bought that Peter Poulos picture that he had, but I ain't got money right now, so you know. But yeah, so I'm just curious to see if you hung out or not. Um,
you
the
left last
consensus
night?
seemed like everybody was cutting out last night, so we left last night.
Uh,
Okay,
What was he getting? What did you? How'd your tattoo turn out? I saw you getting tattooed when I left. I didn't get a chance to see what
Yeah,
you were getting
so
done.
when I left, he was getting tattooed by Lou from Tattoo Land. Lou's been running Tattoo Land, I think he said 26 years for Jack and Jack's family. But yeah, Tattoo Land was there representing, man. They had a bunch of LA tattooers. It was pretty cool to see, man. I think that's probably the biggest plus for me going to the Philly show is seeing the tattoo artists from all over the world, basically. There was people there from Japan. There was people from, the Polynesian guys were there. People from all over the country, obviously. It's one of the bigger conventions here in the United States. I got to talk to Penny Funk for a little bit yesterday. Eddie Funk's Philadelphia Eddie's widow. Talked to her for a brief couple minutes. So I got tatted at Heart of Gold on Wednesday, so I didn't go to the convention, but I would have gotten tattooed by Mike Attack. His Cyber Alien Panther looks sick. Yeah, dude. I did stop by Mike Attack's booth. He definitely had some awesome stuff.
Yeah, I talked to him for a minute. Yeah, in
Yeah,
Chicago, right?
yeah. So
Like,
RC said he just posted it on Facebook, and Little Roy did it. So there you go. Um, CamX commuted. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man. It's the first time I've seen you in chat, so good to see you. Mondo said, I'm looking for early Chris Trevino flash. Hit me up. There you go. So anybody's out there got a stash full of Chris Trevino flash, hit up Mondo, man. He's looking to buy some. Yeah, RC had a bunch of original Jack Rudy stuff. He had a lot of Dominic Chance stuff. Bunch of cool, like I said, pictures, man. The big picture of Peter Poulos. It was cool, man. I actually sat there and I was talking to Richie Montgomery, man, and he actually worked for Peter back in the day. And I said to him, I said, dude, I've heard a lot of stories about Peter being like, crazy son of a bitch. How true are those stories? And he said, oh, they're true and even worse. Damn. Nathan, thank you, man, for donating 5 memberships. Much appreciated. Let's see, anybody, and nobody in chat. I don't know how that works, dude, but I appreciate you doing that, brother. That's awesome. It never seems to give it to anybody that's hanging out with us in chat. It does. So I did look this up. It goes to anybody that subscribes to the channel. So as long as you're a subscriber to the channel, you have you don't even have to be in here when it happens. It could possibly go to you. So there you go. If you're not mentioned it yet, today is the 1-year
yeah,
anniversary of Jack Rudy's passing. So I did have that on my notes, but thank you for reminding me. Pretty surreal that here we are, a year out, and it's one of those things where RC had a bunch of the original national convention posters that were drawn up by Jack. Yeah, we all know Jack is the master of black and gray tattoos, but we also forget sometimes that he did cool shit like that too. Where he did almost all of them. Not almost all of them. I would say 90% of them. There
I
was a
have a
good clip.
I
So
have a thrush that he did for the. I think it was for the Roseland Tattoo Convention. It was a
yeah,
thrush print. The for the people that are hot rod guys, the bird, the hot rod bird, with like a cigar in its mouth.
yeah.
It's nice, man.
But
I was really happy to get that.
you know, it sucks when we have good people like that go. Speaking of good people that go, I don't know if Troy has them or if he got them off a penny. But apparently, from what I understood, he had Eddie's ashes there at the convention on Friday. So he put them in the museum row, and you could, you know, I don't know if people were taking pictures with it, but he actually posted it as such. It's kind of a weird take a picture with, but hey, whatever, man. But yeah, man, I think that that's cool too. That you're honoring the guy that started that. You know, he's been going a long time now. Philadelphia Eddie. It was cool because I showed Ronnie Delacqua. Sorry, I was reading RC's comment. A picture that I got. I told you guys I'm trying to put together a Philadelphia Eddie history episode, and I showed Ronnie Delacqua some of the pictures that I got from Eddie's original shop that was up in Northeast Philly, which is like the Badlands now. But the guy that owns the shop, man, let me go upstairs to where Eddie had the museum back in the day, and let me take pictures of the original signs that were hanging out in 1953. And so that was pretty awesome to see, man. RC said he was never not drawing. So there you go. He was talking about Jack. So RC has a picture of him, Troy, and East Coast Charlie holding Eddie's ashes. That was cool to see too, man. East Coast Charlie there hanging out yesterday, longtime employee of Philadelphia Eddie's.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie's like, Jesus, he must be, RC, correct me if I'm wrong, but 40, 45-year guy now? 40-year guy?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Because I was saying to him how I met him in probably like 93 or 4-ish at the 4th Street shop.
I think I first met him when he was working at, not at Tattoo Haven, but when he was working at, Jerry's in the fuck is wrong with me? Tommy Knapp's place. Charlie was the first guy that I ever met he might be the only guy I've ever known that worked at both. So Eddie had the two shops on 4th Street, the one that was closer to South and the one that was closer to Bainbridge. And Charlie split time between both shops, man.
Right.
He was the only guy. He was the only guy I knew. He was the only guy I knew that did that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that shop up in Northeast Philly on Kensington Ave is the one.
Avenue.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. So I have pictures of the original signs that were hanging out there. And what Eddie did and so he had the original one up there in 1953, and then somewhere in the 80s or whatever, maybe even 70s, he put another one over top of it. So Eddie was just putting them new signs over top of them. And when they went to change the signs to, you know, pull it down, they found all the old signs behind it. So that was cool. So Nathan just said, who can share a story about Mr. Jack Rudy? The only story I could share, if you want to go, Justin, you probably have a better story than me.
Oh,
No?
it's not really a better story. It's just funny. So I'm at the Hot Rod Tattoo Convention at the Vanderbilt in Long Island, and Jack was up there with the car club that he used to run with, whose name I just totally flaked.
Wasn't it like
Guys
the
from Coolsville,
yeah yeah
and so he's behind me in line at the what do you call it, at the where you get your food, right? And I'm all like I said, when I would meet these guys, I'm sort of a nerdy dude. So when I would meet these guys that I had read about when I was coming up, I'd get like nervous. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, it's Jack Rudy behind me. You know what I mean? Because he's a little bit of an idol of mine. And I'm like, I can't find the ketchup. I'm like, where's the ketchup, dude? I'm like looking for the ketchup for my French fries, and I'm holding up the line, and I hear Rudy behind me go, "Man, if it was a snake, it'd bite you in the ass right now. It's right in front of you." He was like so cool about it. You know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks, thanks." Fucking got out of there. You know what I
So
mean?
the only time I met Jack was down in Norfolk, man, and he was there to sell T-shirts and get stuff together for the Tattoo Heritage Project. I don't think he was tattooing, uh, but yeah, beatniks. There you go.
The beatniks. Yeah.
So I walked up to him, man, and I said, "Hey, Jack, how are you, dude? Nice to meet you." He shook my hand. He was cool, but he's a little standoffish. And I said, "Hey, man, I'm friends with RC, and I know you're friends with RC. He told me to tell you hello." And he's like, "Oh, right on, right on." But he was still a little kind of standoffish. And then I told him what I was doing. I said, "Yeah, man, I'm here. I'm interviewing, some guys to work on my YouTube channel. I do tattoo history, man. It's where my heart is. This is what I love to do." And at that point, he kind of like the front kind of went down, and he was talking to me and whatever, and it was really cool, good conversation. And then he was like, "Hey, man, well, why don't you donate to the Tattoo Heritage Project?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm down. I gotta grab cash." I said, "I don't have cash on me." He was like, "Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you buy a shirt?" And I go, "You don't have fat guy sizes." He's like, "The fuck I don't. I got plenty of fat guy sizes. What shirt do you need? What size?" And I was like, yeah, 4X." And he was like, "I got you." He's like, "Go get your money and come back." Dude, I was like, "All right." So I came back in, and him and I chopped it up for a little bit longer, and it was cool, man. I mean, like I said, he was a little standoffish at first, but after that, he was cool. So RC has Jack Rudy's story. His club was the Beatniks. He was always hours late to tattoo me. The last time he tattooed me, we spoke for 7 hours before he started tattooing. Amazing conversationalist. There you go, man. I mean, I could totally see that. Any of the interviews that I've ever seen with Jack, he, you know, could definitely spin a good yarn. Um, and I, I expected people to give me some slack about not talking about Jack during the Good Time Charlie interview that I did. But to me, it was like, man, I think Charlie's talked about that so much that I figured I really wouldn't be bringing anything extra to the table by talking about that. And, I mean, we did bring up Tattoo Land, obviously, but, we didn't get into the whole thing with Jack and stuff like that because it just, dude, Charlie's been talked about that hundreds of times on film, man. And if you want to really see it, you could actually watch a Jack Rudy interview, or you could watch a Good Time Charlie interview. So, Mondo has a story. He says, "Jack and my wife hung out at a show once, joking and laughing about all the San Antonio convention girls and the early 2000s. He was super funny cat, witty and quick, always an hour late." There you go. Hours late, always hours late. RC said, "I first met him in 1987 when I took a writing seminar at the San Diego convention." So there you go. Jack also busted my balls because somebody I'm friends with that he personally I had beef with or whatever. I won't say the guy's name. So he's like, "You're friends with that asshole?" I was like, "Yeah."
Man, why was he talking about me like that, dude?
Yeah, no, he wasn't talking about you.
Man, oh, all right, it wasn't me. Okay.
No, no, no. So yeah, that's really my only Jack story. I mean, I knew about Jack obviously from all the stuff I've seen. Whether it's interviews or whatever. Always admired his work and stuff like that. Even though I'm not a big black and gray guy. Um, you know, the dude's obviously on that mountaintop of that black and gray thing. Um, you know, he's going to be sorely missed, man. He's a big Big shoes to fill, man, for that guy being gone.
I like because I would always see when I collected like the tattoo art books, like not only the books of the tattoos that people did, but like different art show books that people would put out, and you would see like his drawings in there. And there's I'm 90% sure that he's the guy that did it. It might have been Charlie, but I'm 90% sure it was Jack. It was like this whole sheet of like little midget dudes, like a little midget Viking, a little midget Cholo dude, and then there was like a turtle, and it was actually sort of long. There was like a surfer guy on there, and it was just really like um, it felt authentic, and it was nice, and
So
you could
Charlie
feel
had a
the
sheet that kind of looked like that with him when I was there, and he was saying that. Um, Now I don't know if we're talking about the same sheet or not because this was actually a wide sheet, but there was he was showing like he was pointing out on that sheet like ones that he had done with his son Nick,
hmm
some of the ones that Jack had done, and then also some of the ones that Ed Hardy had done. Um, RC said Jack is on my list of top 10 humans I have ever met in my life, and the list is not half full yet. So there you go. Mad respect, man. Um, I'm surprised nobody actually talked about that yesterday, but I would assume that it got talked about today with the amount of LA guys that were there. Um, you know, Little Roy, um, Lucky Bastard was there, Chewy Gantara. So there was tons of LA guys there that are from that, school. Um, but yeah, man, I appreciate you guys sharing your story with us. I don't know, man. Hopefully next week we get to actually hang together in the shop. Hopefully this is it for us with the snow, man. I about had it already, dude. When we have snowstorms like this, I go, why the hell did I move from fucking Arizona back here? That's the only time I complain.
So when you were a kid, man, did you ever hang on to cars when it snowed out like this? Like hang
No,
on to
man.
the bump? Did you
I
ever
grew up.
bump into?
I grew up outside of Pittsburgh, dude, where we had like feet of snow at a time, and
Yeah,
usually there
that's
weren't any cars on the road. So uh, the one thing I lived on a really really steep street, and we would sled ride right down my street, dude. We'd have a couple dudes sit at the bottom and be like, "Good," and just let it rip, man. And then hope a car didn't come.
hope
So
a car didn't come. Yeah,
yeah, But we usually did it at night so you could at least see headlights. But yeah, man, this shit's for the birds, dude. We haven't gotten snow like this in I don't know how long, but so I can't really complain. But me being the good neighbor, dude, and I always said all those years of shoveling snow in Pittsburgh, dude. I always said, man, if I get older and I can afford it, I'm buying a snowblower, and I'll hook up all my neighbors, and that's what I do every time it snows. So it's what I did this morning, and that's what I'm going to do here in another hour. So they said it was supposed to stop here at 8 o'clock. So hopefully it does, and I can get out there and knock it out. But hope you guys enjoyed our recap for tonight. Uh, Again, apologize for not taking a lot of pictures, but you know what? It was more about conversations and seeing old friends and meeting new friends. So that sometimes takes precedent over taking pictures and shooting video. I did have all my stuff yesterday, but I was enjoying the conversations more than anything. So Mondo said we would always see him at Gill's spot
hmm
when he was located in Beaumont a few years. Rita worked and helped at my shop's front desk in 2005. I had Johnny the Breeze Anderson in my shop at that time. There you go. So, hope you all have a good, safe, happy week. I will see you regulars that hang out with me on Wednesday night. We're going to talk about, I think we're going to talk about I found a cool post and I took some pictures. The difference between Oni and Hanya masks. So I'm going to take my stab at it.
ah
Yeah.
ah.
So if you want to come and hang out on Wednesday night, dude, I could probably use your help since you know more about that shit than I do. I'm gonna take a stab at it though, dude, and we'll probably talk about that. So it should be a good show on Wednesday night. I hope you all have a safe, happy week. And if we don't catch you on Wednesday, we'll catch you next Sunday. And if you haven't watched the JoJo Ackerman video, please do so now. Peace.
Everybody stay safe. Later.
Later.